This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Introduction. It is hard to disagree that child development, learning, and behavior are extremely significant processes that can be affected by various external and internal factors. While a parent may wonder why their child has suddenly become aggressive and violent or unexpectedly shy, avoiding their wrong attitudes may impact the kid's actions. Therefore, it is vital to raise awareness of the influence of various factors on child behavior and study the role of behavioral theories and childcare educators. This paper aims to explore the impacts of the aforementioned concepts and processes. Explaining the terms. Before discussing child development, learning, and behavior, it is essential to define these terms. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, child development is the acquisition of the necessary emotional, thought, physical, and language skills and changes. Learning is the process of searching for and processing new information by observing other people or using other sources of information to acquire new skills and expand awareness. Finally, behavior is an observable reaction of kids to various internal or external factors. Influences on children's behavior. Parenting styles. One may agree that the development and attitudes of children and teenagers depend primarily on the way their parents or guardians raise them. Overall, several different parenting styles are authoritative, uninvolved, authoritarian, and permissive. Depending on the selected style, a parent may focus on either supportive, caring, and loving or frightening, aggressive, and toxic relationships with their kids. Consequently, if a child grows up in a safe and tolerant household where moral principles are valued, it is more likely for this girl or boy to behave correctly and ethically, as well as become calm and adequate in general. At the same time, as stated by Cuppins and Selmans, authoritarian and uninvolved parenting can promote aggressive behavior in children and teenagers. Relationships with peers. Another factor that can significantly affect children's behavior and attitudes is the influence of peers. It is evident that one's social circle and surrounding people, in general, are of significant importance. Bullies can make a teenager want to disappear, and the behavior and reactions of this boy or girl will adapt to the negative circumstances, becoming closed, nervous, and maybe even aggressive. It is usually obvious when a child is bullied because they become less sociable, can eat and sleep more or less, avoid reality, and spoil their relationships with their parents. As for the positive effects, peers can promote an active lifestyle, encourage each other to study more, support one another, eat healthier, and find exciting hobbies. Lifestyle. Further, a child's lifestyle, including sleeping patterns, eating habits, and exercising, can either worsen or benefit their behavior. For example, a chronic lack of proper sleep usually makes teenagers more depressed, irritable, frustrated, willing to avoid reality, and unable to concentrate. What is more, as noticed by researchers, sleep-deprived children are less alert and tend to avoid social life and interactions with their families. As for eating habits, if teenagers prefer nutritious food, their bodies are healthier, which in turn makes these children more friendly, active, able to study, and willing to explore the world. Finally, regular sports activities alter kids' behavior, encouraging them to be responsible, involved in real life, confident in themselves, and socially active. Screen time. Finally, it is difficult to disagree that involvement in the digital world is one of the most powerful modern factors. Researchers state that the more time a child spends online, the less attractive the real world becomes for them. Uncontrolled screen time promotes aggressiveness in kids, increases their explosive reactions, and causes unfavorable behavioral conduct, lower fitness, and lower self-esteem. If screen time is limited, children can feel relieved and calmer, replenish energy for real-life communication, and reduce stress, positively affecting their behavior. Age-appropriate behavior. One cannot overestimate the necessity of allowing children to behave according to their age. Age-appropriate behavior during certain stages of development may be challenging for parents to handle, but this concept enables kids to progress correctly in their learning and social development. However, the aforementioned factors can interfere with age-appropriate behavior and make teenagers act more like adults or younger kids. In the first case, an unsafe environment or negative impacts of peers and parents can make an adolescent grow up mentally much faster and stop enjoying the events and things a young child or teenager should enjoy. Applying behavioral theories. The first effective theory to be discussed is behavioral modeling and observational learning, formulated by psychologist Albert Bandura. According to him, children are naturally inclined to engage in observation and learn from others, so it is common for kids to copy the actions and attitudes of adults. Consequently, childcare professionals can adopt such an approach and demonstrate ethical behavior, act morally, and orient on positive principles. Such an example will foster moral behavior among children. Another useful theory is operant conditioning, which states that punishment and reinforcement can be effective in modifying behaviors. Thus, childcare educators can adopt rewards and sanction systems, which will encourage children to behave correctly and avoid being unethical and aggressive. Possible impacts of childcare professionals. Finally, it is essential to mention that childcare educators play significant roles in kids' development and learning. The positive effect may be illustrated with the help of the following example: a childcare professional read a book in which bravery, sincerity, love, care, and justice are celebrated. In this case, the educator has a relatively positive impact on children's behavior, encouraging them to act morally. One of the negative effects is that the carer may accidentally pass on the wrong attitudes, fears, or mental trauma to the child. For instance, if the educator tends to react aggressively to dogs because of their own childhood trauma, a kid who sees this may develop a violent attitude towards dogs or all animals. Conclusion. To draw a conclusion, one may say that numerous concepts and processes have to be considered when raising or working with kids and adolescents. While parents and childcare professionals may be quite effective in their roles, peers or other severe external factors can negatively change a teenager's behavior. Therefore, it is necessary to adopt a comprehensive approach when trying to help children develop adequately. Thankfully, behavioral theories appear to be quite helpful in this professional context. If you want to find more works like this essay on external and internal factors of child development, head over to ivypanda.com. It has a collection of samples with thousands of submissions covering virtually all academic subjects.